Yeah. Awesome. I guess I'm in California and it's been raining here a week and I got in the studio this morning and everything had reset. I guess that means the power went out last night.
When it rains in California, everything shuts down. People freak out. They like stand outside the window and they're like, "What the hell is this thing?"
Um, Boy, you have a lot of different looks. I didn't know who to expect today. You look 10 years younger than the last time I saw you before I went to bed last night.
De-aging, it's all that CrossFit, right?
Yeah, holy cow, your body did go through quite the transformation from 2020 to the present.
That's right, man.
Hey, how did you find CrossFit? I wasn't sure if you did CrossFit or if you were just friends with David. Am I pronouncing his last name right? Sievertson?
Cyberston.
Sievertson.
Yeah. No, I live in a community of people that do CrossFit at Bison. And Dave grew up in the community around here where I moved to, which is in Bergen County, New Jersey, which is not where I'm from. I moved here totally on a whim. And a lot of the parents that I would chat with at pickup for our kids, they would all be members of Bison and talking about CrossFit all the time. And I felt like the outsider. So I was like, let me go check this thing out. Walked into the gym on a Wednesday because I think Dave does like a open Wednesday kind of where you can test out a workout. At least back in the day, the workouts on Wednesday were more accessible. Body weight stuff, things that like people can hop in there and do. But I'll never forget it, man. It was like wall balls, box jumps, toes to bar, and I got wiped out of the gym. I mean, I was absolutely annihilated. And one of the dad friends that I had, I looked at, I saw his time and like I got capped out hardcore, and he like was 5 minutes under the cap. And I was like, what the hell are these people superhuman? Women too. I mean, it was just everybody in the gym absolutely annihilated me. And so I was like, okay, I didn't go back into the CrossFit gym for another year, but I think it was my mother-in-law bought me a 10 pack to Bison. This was in 2023. And this was for the holidays. And of course, it happens to be the time when Bison is hosting 23.2 at our gym. So like Roman and Patrick and everyone was there. I had started CrossFit maybe 2 weeks before that open. Um, so it was kind of I was like, what is this energy? What is this vibe? And so I've been doing CrossFit ever since then. And I go 5 times a week at least.
Uh, um, this is kind of a side shoot, but when I think of your profession, I think of the people in your profession. And now that I think about it, there's two different kinds of stereotypes I think of. I think of people who are obsessed with the way they look and they think that there's all the working out and the right clothes and the right beauty and the right hair product that will get them in the door because it's looks. And then there's this other crowd that's the, I guess, NYU crowd, right? They're going to do the artisan way. Do you know what I mean? They're going to work on their inner self and their expression and their acting. And maybe maybe I'm not going to say that they don't have any superficiality either, because maybe it's closely intertwined. But if I were to pigeonhole you, I would say you came from over there. Like, hey, let's practice the art. Whereas there's this other, when you go to LA or when you're in, San Diego, you're like, oh, this crowd is really the gym crowd and the Botox crowd and the absolute beauty crowd. Maybe it's exterior versus interior. There's probably a million ways to say it. And now you're molding the two because
Well, I think
your outer
I
appearance
think,
has really
yeah.
changed. Like your jawline has dramatically changed in the last 5 years.
Well, I think what you're pointing to is any art when it comes into business. Really, like as artists, we have to follow our passion, train within the art, become an expert, really dive deep into that um, institution, or really just doing it on your own, whether you're a fine artist, a musician, a filmmaker, anything like that. And so that's what I got bit by that bug as an artist. I was really inspired by the human condition and how it represented on screen and on stage and all that. And then all of a sudden you get dropped into this business, which is about making money off of art. So they need to balance each other, and you need to figure out, what is this business? How can you be a commodity that is worth selling? You got to
Mm.
look at, like, what do people buy straight up, and like a good looking body, a good looking person, somebody that is really interesting to look at. That's one type. And then the other type is if you completely let yourself go and you can become a character. And so you kind of like end up in one of those two choices if you want to do this for a living. And I kept deciding, where do I want to end up? And I look a lot younger than I am in real life. So I was like, well, I got to commit to one way, and I can't just be right there in the middle, because then people are like, who are you? You're nothing. And
Mm.
so I made the choice. And I mean, we could talk about this deeper, but like, really, it's about what you display, right? It's not different than any business out there. It's really all about the person that you are packaging. And so, yeah, there is a vanity in that. And LA is filled with those types of people that looked photoshopped. But if that gets them in the door, then they can be the artist inside that door. And it really, like, my ultimate thing is, I say it doesn't matter how people show up, it's why they stay ultimately.
You know what's interesting is a friend of mine one time told me the guy on steroids always has the best looking woman in the room. And, you know, it's a pretty sweeping generalization, but I see his point. The big, buff, strong guy has the big, beautiful, buxom woman often. When you were describing that about the two different kinds right there, I was thinking about also the fruits in the at the fruit stand. There's the organic
Mm.
fruit that's all the weird, funny, funky shapes and shit. You know what I mean? The tomatoes, no two look alike, and then there's the ones that look good. You know what I mean? And there's a
Yeah,
crowd
which
for
one are you
there's
drawn to? Which
yeah,
one,
yeah,
which one do
yeah,
you get? I mean, this is
yeah.
just, look, a lot of us don't want to talk about this in society, but it's true. We have immediate preference about everything in our life. And that's just the way it is. I mean, back from the days when there was just paintings, no pictures or anything like that, they would draw beautiful bodies up there on these, you look in any museum and it's just filled with naked people, naked women. I mean, the David statue, for instance, is like a perfect shaped body. We are attracted to that. It represents different things. It represents vitality. It represents longevity. It represents health. And so there's actually nothing wrong with that. It's that we've colored in society this idea that a good looking body or someone that takes care of themselves is somehow stupider or somehow not worthy or not smart. But really, for everybody that knows, it takes a lot of effort to actually get to that point where you are lower in body fat or gaining muscle mass or anything like that. And so it does say a lot about your character as well. If you put in the work in the gym or in the kitchen or anywhere to, like, treat your body like a temple and actually own it. It's a matter of why you're doing it ultimately. And I think a lot of people with fitness, they get to that point where they think they're doing it to have the abs and have more sex and do all that shit. And then they get there and then they're like, well, now what? Whereas if you look at it from a larger perspective, which is like, well, I'm going to the CrossFit gym every single day so I can then like lift up my children when I'm 80 years old, or I can walk with the groceries or do anything like that, or have a body that makes me feel like I can just be alive and feel good about it. In fact, like where I come from in like the Buddhist lens, it's called precious human life. You're taking care of your ship so then you can sail it out to sea. And if you have that perspective, then it really doesn't matter if you scale, RX, or do any of that sort of shit in the gym. You're ultimately putting in solid reps towards that aspiration as opposed to result oriented goal, because it's kind of like a fool's errand at the end of the day.
I say this, judging your body 100%. Your body represents a disciplined human who moves, who goes out of their way to move, and is careful what they stick in that front hole here, as opposed to there's some expressions that are definitely pathological. Like, hey, you got too buff. You know what I mean? You got two, those butt implants are like you went somewhere and had someone slice you open and insert something in and then close it back up. And, um, yeah, there becomes a pathological, piece to it. Uh,
But at the
I
same time,
Go ahead.
yeah, but at the same time, people like that, like I value all of it, and I'm totally cool with any of it because this is our vehicle, man. Like this is all we get. We only get one body. And so if you choose to manipulate it in any way you want to, based on some sort of curiosity, like what am I capable of doing with this vehicle? Fuck it, go ride life that way. Like, I totally admire that. It's a matter of if you're running towards something or running away from something. Like, oh shit, I don't feel good about what's inside of me. So I'm going to build up this fucking fortress around me so then no one can see the real person that's within, even though all of us can actually see each other through the eyes, through the soul, through your character, through your behavior. And so if both those things are in harmony, go for it. Build those fucking muscles all the way out there. Go
Yeah.
stand there on the bodybuilder stage or whatever the heck you want to do. But it's a matter of whether you're aligned with your aspiration or not. If you're running towards it, go for it. If you're running away from it, that's a different type of thing. You need to look in the mirror in a different way.
I really like that you said that running away or running towards. I always assume that people are running away. I assume that you're sitting on your couch, you have this thought, you're not aware of it. So how it expresses itself is you jump in your Honda Civic, you go to CVS, you buy the blue hair dye, you come home, you dye your hair blue in order to scratch that inner thought that you never even saw. Well, ironically, I had a guy on the other day and he had these huge gauges in his ear. I'm like, "Hey dude, why
Mhm.
would you do that to your body? Like, hey, what is the what?" And he's like, "Well, I had an image of myself and I wanted to look like that image." And I was like, "Wow, I'm gonna have to. I don't really understand that. I'm gonna have to put that aside and just like until I see an answer to it." And maybe that's what you're saying. He was running towards something. He lives in
Yeah, and I'm
Vegas. Yeah,
yeah, and also like this is what we do as actors too. Like we're playing other people. Like
right.
we're constantly putting on new costumes. We're living in circumstances that are fake, that are not real, and we have to believe them. And that's
Mm,
all we're doing in real
mm,
life too. Like the glasses you're wearing, the shirt you're wearing, the shirt I choose, like these headphones. It's all what this character is choosing to display out in the world. It's just that this is quote unquote real life, and those are like
mm,
characters that we watch on television. But a good piece of television, a good piece of art is supposed to reflect society. It's supposed to reflect who we are. And we can all tell that. Like, good, well, we don't have to be trained actors to know when an actor is living in believable circumstances themselves.
mm,
And it's exactly what we are doing all the time. We just don't realize that, which is the ultimate problem is that we think, oh, and really like if you boil it down, it is that running away or running towards something. Because like as an actor, it's very intentional. When you get a character, you look at it, you say, what is the motivation for this person? Why are they the way they are? And as people, we don't do that a lot. We don't look and go, okay, these are the circumstances I've put in my life. These are the clothes that I wear. This is the car I drive. This is the stuff that is manifested around me. I'm not a victim of circumstances. I had one choice that led to another choice that led to another choice that got me to this place. And that's why I love exercise in general, because it is a direct example of that. It shows you when you walk into the gym and you put in a rep and you stack more efficient reps over and over again, you will transform. And it's a matter of discipline, obviously. But if you make that specific choice, go ahead, go for it. See what you're capable of, see what you're made of.
Along those lines, I do have to add eating also. Once you realize the power of food, um, Greg Glassman, the founder of CrossFit, said it. He goes, "Hey, I wish could tell you today you could exercise away a bad diet, but you could get to the 90% of your goals by quitting CrossFit and just doing the base of the pyramid. You just got your eating in order,
1,000%. And that was really
which is
what
pretty
transformed
amazing."
my body. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's what transformed my body was the discipline in the kitchen. I mean, I started checking, I mean, I weighed every grain of rice and I directly looked at my macros and I was like, this is exactly what I'm going to eat and I'm going to test it out. I'm going to see if I could do this for 6 months. And it was like, holy shit, I transformed my body. And it really exposes all of this like nutritional bullshit, which is like, you need to eat this, avoid that, stay away from this. It's really scientific in that way, where it's like, if you want to transform the way you look, you can actually like choose your macros and really go for it. Yes, it includes exercise, it includes strength, it includes so many other things. But really just doing that, I straight up transformed my body in the kitchen primarily.
Yeah, bear with me here. This looks like you have twice as much testosterone now as you did in this photo.
Yeah, that was that was pre CrossFit right there. That was
Yeah,
that was
and
also
then
pre
and then look at you
mindfulness, pre everything.
and then look at you here. Here you look like you're like getting ready to do the open or a high rocks or some shit. I mean, you look like a beast here.
Thanks, man. I mean, if you Google me, you'll even see you'll even see photos with my shirt off, even though I've tried to not throw those up on Instagram. Yeah, too many thirst traps right now. I'm saving those for later, but yeah, I mean that's part of it, dude. I mean the career I'm in, you want to post those things on the world because somebody straight up, just like what you just did, they Google you and then they create a judgment. They
Yep,
decide who you
yep,
are,
yep,
which is totally okay. That's the
yep.
profession I'm in. And so it's you want to be able to have agency over that. And it's okay what you choose. It's just a matter of what you choose, and it needs to be intentional. And you need to know why you're doing it in order to have a happy, healthy life, really. It's okay to like go out there and look like a fucking beast and be proud of it as long as you know exactly why you're doing it. I'm totally cool with that.
When I found CrossFit, I remember um, doing the hard workouts and being done and falling on the ground and thinking to myself, and I shared this with Greg at the time, that through this suffering and through this oxygen deprivation, there's a forced mindfulness, and that there'll be through this hard work, there'll be an evolution of people's mindset or spirituality. And it's something that people don't talk about very often. But every time you do, and I used to always say a lot, it's not a line I use a lot, but if you have any problems, do 100 burpees for time and all your problems will go away. Really push, because at some point you're going to be grasping for breath. And when you're grasping for breath, everything else goes away. And there is that opportunity at that
Well,
moment.
I
Then there
mean,
was this.
yeah.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. What
No,
were you
it's
going to say?
a fantastic segue. Dude, it's a fantastic segue into everything. What a fantastic segue in the sense that CrossFit and like exercise was something I valued. But when I walked into a CrossFit gym and got humbled like that, the way that I did, I had already been practicing mindfulness. It was already something that I was teaching in the graduate level at Columbia University. I was going on these silent retreats for 7 days, 10 days, 11 days, paying attention, looking at my mind, doing all that sort of stuff. And it was the first time where I stepped into an actual gym with other people in a community and I saw the connection between sitting there on the cushion for 11 days in silence and doing 100 burpees for time. I was like, this directly shows you your mind in so many ways. It's not just the workout, but the whiteboard, the comparison to each other. You're standing next to somebody who you don't necessarily know. Eventually, you do if you're part of the community, but you may not know them. And so you're immediately comparing your all these things are running through your mind as you're the time like burpees for time, right? You're looking at the clock and you're like, the clock is counting down. It's so many things where I was like, this is exactly where I belong because it's a physical example of what I'm training all the time and I'm teaching my actors and everything like that. I was like, it couldn't be a better example, a better integration of mindfulness work if you have a context for it, though. Like, I think what you're saying is like, you do these things, you do these burpees for time, and you recognize your mind, and then you immediately almost like push it away. It's like you don't have the view of like, well, what is this? How can you find benefit in actually paying attention to your mind that way? Some people get addicted to it and they show up and they just like continue to do that, and eventually they figure it out. But imagine if you realize, like right off the get go, you're pushing yourself to your absolute limit so you can continue to expand your boundaries, not just physically, but mentally as well. You create a whole new neural pathway that's brand new about how then you show up out of the gym. Like 1000%, something becomes hard emotionally or with your family or with your kids. If you can connect the dots to like that WOD that absolutely made you not want to show up, and yet you did, calories for time on the Echo bike, burpees for time, any of those things that directly show you who you are. That's like in of itself an incredible workout for up here, as well as like your heart and your body and your so it's a direct connection. That's what I love about CrossFit.
Rafi Silver on a show called Fallout on Amazon, top 10 show. I do not watch TV because TV is addicting. And last night I watched TV and I watched the first 3 episodes of Fallout, and holy shit, crazy. In another interview I heard you do, you said it's crazy because this you were giving props to the sets people because you said the sets are so amazing that when you go on stage you feel so supported. And I don't know if these are your exact words, but it's easier to get into your role because you're in this landscape. And Fallout is made as a series made after a video game, which right away turned me off because I thought it was going to be dumb. And holy shit, 3 episodes in, the writing's insane, the character development's insane. The shows are long enough where they can weave. There's like 5 stories going simultaneously, and they've never neglected any of the stories. So I watched 3 episodes back to back last night, and then I realized I'm like, where's Rafi? And then I was like, oh, he comes in season 2. So I gotta power through it. My wife's like, do you like this? I'm like, I love this, and she got excited because she likes watching TV at night. The series. What an incredible show with a wild cast. Um,
Oh yeah.
this, th w d this do you remember when you couldn't watch your thoughts? So here we're talking about this. So I do 100 burpees for time. I'm going as fast as I can. The stories start up. I have cultivated enough self-awareness to where I know I'm responsible for my thoughts, but I'm not my thoughts. But I do remember being in high school as a young man and the early years of my college years where I didn't if someone would have said watch your thoughts, I would have no context or ability to even understand what they're saying. I was like a fly. I just buzzed from one pile of shit to another, reacting to my thoughts because I was my thoughts. I was serving, that those thoughts. And then as I evolved, I sort of became like the Terminator, in that movie where he takes a pause and he has choices and he chooses fuck you asshole. You know what I mean? Like he's like, you know what I mean? Like someone
Yeah.
drives by you and you want to flip them off and you take a deep breath and then instead you wave and say sorry and you're like, "Holy shit, that's the next one down, the choice. I'll choose that one." I'll make a little space. How would you how would you explain does that ever trip you out that there's a cohort of people? I don't know what the ratio is, but I suspect there's more people who don't even understand what it means to watch your mind because they are their mind. They haven't fractured yet or cultivated that other.
Absolutely. I mean, really, what I noticed through training people, athletes, actors, anybody really, is that society and what's been given to us, like i.e., these phones, the computer, the way we digest material, like COVID, everything that kind of brought us in, it's creating new habits where we're not out and curious. And so what you were describing as a young man or as a kid, really, ultimately, we live in the land of curiosity, which is out. The
Mhm.
focus is out. And when the focus is out, completely out, we don't have expectations about what is supposed to happen.
Mm.
We're just in the quote unquote moment because we're so interested in things as they unfold. So our thoughts and the moment are connected. Our thoughts are just reacting to the moment, and we have such agency over it because we live in a land of curiosity. So if we live in a land of curiosity, nothing can actually go wrong. It's all part of the quote video game. But as we get older and we get more responsibilities and we get so sucked into the phone and all this stuff, which is just reflecting upon me, the me, my, I, what do I need? What do I need to get? Then our thoughts become way more loud. They become more prevalent. And so we notice, like, how is this affecting about me? What does this moment mean about me? What is this me being tired in this gym mean about me and my character? And we start to spiral down these thoughts like, well, if I can't do this burpee, then I'm a piece of shit. And if I'm a piece of shit, then I'm blah, blah, blah. If then, you start to go down this spiral of doubt and really consciousness of self, which is another way of saying self conscious. And when we are self conscious, we are not out. We're not paying attention to what's actually happening. We're paying attention to our mind and that. So we might be moving through 100 burpees, but we are not present in that at all. The burpees are the stimulus, then what we're present in is our own anxiety and our own mind. So it's really not so much that we're watching our thoughts, it's that the thoughts are arising and we could allow them to be what they're going to be. And we could actually train the muscle to then turn and then look at the curiosity of what it is that I'm doing. And so with my clients and really just everybody that I work with, it's just a super simple shift as opposed to saying the mantra, I need, or I have to, or I must, or I need to, if then. You just say, I wonder if I can. I wonder if I can do 10 more burpees right now. I wonder if I can pick this up. I wonder if I can move through this with a little less judgment. I wonder if I can, like, lift this thing as a support to this person next to me. I wonder what this will do for me as I move forward, as opposed to, I need to lift this, otherwise my open score will be shit. I need to lift this, otherwise, you know, look, you can fill in the blanks. This is all based on who we are. But if you just shift that word, I wonder, and it works so well with CrossFit because I had a client, one of my clients that I work with, a CrossFit athlete. He was at, I think it was Legends last year, and he was in second place or something, whatever competition he was in. He was in second place, and he got to a max lift. That was one of the WODs, was a max lift. And he's not the strongest guy when it comes to max lifting. And he was like, Raf, I think I need to lift this much in order to stay in second place. And I was like, dude, you're fucked. You can't say I need, because then all of a sudden you're going to be, the expectations have just been here. You're going to be unsatisfied even if you hit it. I said, what if you just shift the mind to, I wonder if I could lift this right now. Then your mind starts to get precise with, well, what does it take to actually do that thing? I need to, like, knuckles down, or I need to pay attention to my shoulders. I can pay attention to the actual fundamentals of the lift
Mm. Mm.
because you're in the I wonder
Mm.
land, which is what kids do. They're like, oh shit, wonder if I could do this. And then you just throw them in the pool and they're like, okay, I wonder if I can keep going. I can keep going. I keep going. It's really simple. And so if you if you trickle that back down to how do you train that? You train that by practicing mindfulness or meditation or something like that, where you're not actually in the gym, you're not actually in moments of high pressure. You've literally taken your distractions away so you can just sit there. And then what arises is your thoughts. And so if you've taken distractions away, music, this is why silent retreats work, because you've literally taken everything away, including talking. And the only thing that's left is your mind. And if you can sit there long enough and notice there's a thought and you don't do anything about it, you don't attach to it, you don't push it away, it goes away, it dissolves. And then another one arises, and then it dissolves, and then another one, and then it dissolves. So that's watching your thoughts. It's kind of like watching it like a movie, like being present without involvement. And you could actually train that. So when you're in the gym or you're in a WOD or you're doing anything, driving a car and somebody cuts you off, and you've built that space to be the terminator there. The stimulus arises, you notice your mind, your impulse, which is to like flick that guy off. You don't judge it. It arises, you're like, oh, there it is. You've created enough space where then you can say, well, I wonder how I can react right now. I wonder if I can like treat this guy with kindness. I wonder what that'll do to me. And you may not like the way you feel if you choose the quote unquote positive, but then you can keep doing that. And you could, it's not dissimilar to how we started this conversation is, what are you running towards? The type of person you want to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in that
Well said.
moment, you could make that choice to run towards the person of being of benefit of other people, of being kind, of being gracious, of being a good listener, of being a person that's an inspiration to other people in the room, of being a leader. These are things that you could aspire to be that has no result, no outcome. It's something that's infinite. You just keep pursuing that. And every choice in every day you can make stepping towards that aspiration.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that have you ever noticed a correlation between each thought that you breathe away, the next one has a higher value, maybe a better outcome if you react to it? That there's like a hierarchy. Like the first one is, thrift store, the next one's Walmart, then the next one is, Saks Fifth Avenue. That there's almost you're rewarded for your creation of space or stillness.
Absolutely. I mean, I had a teacher once that said, we're not responsible for our first thought, but we are responsible for our next one. And I thought that that was a good gauge in the sense that in the society we live in, we're constantly
Oh,
like judging
wow.
ourselves for being racist or judging ourselves for being sexist or ageist or, any of these things. We're like, oh, you can't be these things in life, but they pop up. Thoughts like that pop up and we immediately shut it down. We're like, oh my God, that says I'm a nasty person. It's like, well, no, you recognize these thoughts. That's okay. You have these thoughts. Well, what do you want to be? What are you responsible for next? You recognize that thought arises, doesn't mean shit about who you are, consciousness of self. That thought passes, you move on to your next one. You're not responsible for that first one, right? Like, and the test is so simple. It's really that simple because it comes from stimulus, right? I could just straight up say to all your listeners and you right now, pink elephant, right? And I just threw that stimulus. I just said pink elephant, and that pops up. And then I could ask you straight up, like, what's your kid's name? What's one of your kids' names?
Avi.
Avi. So when I asked you that, where did pink elephant go?
Um, I don't
Gone.
know, away.
Fucking gone. Yeah, away, right? Because Avi or something about Avi, or straight up your thought of like, where's this guy going with this, pops up through a new stimulus because I asked a different question. But you and your viewers and me and everybody, we didn't push that thought, pink elephant, away. It went away through a new stimulus. And also because we are available to listen. We were more curious. I was wondering where this guy's going to go with this. The problem is when we have these thoughts that we attach to, like as if pink elephant was a racist thought or a negative thought or even a positive thought, and we think we can either hold it or push it away. It's like, don't think about that. Well, then what the fuck are you doing? You're thinking about it more.
Yeah.
You're trying to you're like, don't think about pink elephant. Don't think about pink elephant. Don't think of, then you're just laying and laying and laying on top of like a brick by brick by brick. Whereas if all of a sudden I say a new stimulus and you're available for it, it just dissolves. It just goes away. It shifts, it changes. And you can straight up train that by practicing that. It's no different than like putting in a rep on a clean. Straight up. It's the same thing. You train that, you get stronger every single time.
I was in my car yesterday in the minivan, listening to your podcast, I think it's called In the Waiting Room. The host was you. That was a great podcast. That host is awesome. Did you know him ahead of time?
Rashad is an NYU grad,
Uh-huh.
the same school that I went to. I didn't know him in advance, but he's an awesome dude. We had a great conversation. He's doing a really cool thing, started a podcast, putting it out there, interviewing really interesting, great people. I loved supporting him with that. And I'm super happy that you got to listen to. I saw you reposted that and I texted him
Dude,
immediately. I was like, dude, this is fucking awesome.
he's a
He's got
beast,
a
man.
really
He's a
yeah,
beast.
he's gonna do awesome. I'm super happy for him and I was glad I got to participate with that.
There,
I
there was
think
a
he's got
part.
great ideas.
There was a part there at the end. Maybe I'll play the clip. I got the time code. I'll play it later in the show. But where my choose of words, where there's a collision between his Christianity and your Buddhism, and it was wow. It was I don't. Do you recall that towards the end of the podcast?
Oh yeah. I remember
That was.
leaving that
I was like,
talking.
wow. That's sorry. Go ahead. You remember what? Go ahead.
No, he invited me on to talk about acting. And
Uh
like,
huh.
that's kind of where the podcast started. It's called In the Waiting Room. It's like about actors in between jobs, basically. Like, how do you keep going? And we're both spiritual people and have different points of view on the way that we look at things. And that ended up being our conversation. I remember leaving, like calling him on the phone, being like, I'm not sure this is what you intended to talk about, but we had such a kick-ass conversation about this, and we were able to like have differing points of view, but also be saying similar things through different lenses. And I thought that that was like, dude, I think you have something here with that. You gonna
Because
play it?
well, no, not quite yet. Because
Oh,
my journey is very similar to yours in terms of just um finding the mind, and then being like, wow, this is a whole nother world in here, and then spending tons of time. And my wife went to Vipassana 3 times, and um she brought back lots of gems from the inside. And I spend a lot of time alone. I prefer to be alone. Uh but then as I've gotten older and I've had kids and I've surrounded myself with more Christians, I've seen this, the two worlds. Where are they going to come together? Where's that alignment? Where's the synergy between those two? And of course a ton of Buddhism. I read a lot about Buddhism and had a lot of walking practices. And I did the whole Eckhart Tolle trip, who's a brilliant gift to
mhm.
humanity. But at that part when those two came together and you guys went back and forth there, that was pretty amazing. I was sitting in my car in my minivan, and my 9-year-old says, "Wow, this guy's really smart." And I go, "Why do you think he's smart?" He goes, that he's not really smart. He's really wise." And I goes, "He's smart and wise?" He goes, "Yeah, he's smart and wise." And I asked him why, and I forget exactly what he said. But this is kind of what I was asking about people who can't even fathom what it means to watch their mind. This dude knows how to put words together, make it sound cool, but dumb it down for an average person. They would be so lost. These mental coaches need coached on simplification. I don't know if I don't see what he's saying there, but you've probably done this with people. You'll be like, "Hey, I want you to lie down and stay perfectly still and don't react to anything, either a thought or a physical stimulus." And so someone's lying there, and 3 seconds later, they scratch their cheek. And I said, "Hey, you just moved." And they said, "Yeah, I had an itch." I'm like, "Yeah, but the practice was to not move and to just watch any stimulus or thought." And they're like, "Yeah, but I had an itch." And I'm like, wow, I've seen that, 100 times. Or can you watch the second hand on a clock go around for 60 seconds? Okay, take a break. Can you do it a second time? No. You know what I mean? 99% of the people can't do it the second time. That's the part that always trips me out if that's even worth speaking to those people. Like if there can, you know what I mean? Where's the catalyst
I think it's simple.
to
And this is
frack to
like
them?
what
Yeah,
I've
tell
been,
me again. Yeah, please.
yeah, I
Sorry, I
mean,
know
I
this
think
is
it's simple.
redundant.
And
I know you answered this once,
no,
but okay.
no, honestly, I think that this is worth talking about because this is kind of like where my aspiration lies now. Is what is just through my own curiosity of why is this not being translated when it seems so simple? And I think we live in such a result oriented society. This goes right back to that, where we are always looking for the ROI on every fucking thing that we do. And the work with mindfulness or the work with paying attention is not about the result. It's about the path of doing the thing. So if we sit down to like meditate, or we sit down to say, I'm going to do 5 minutes or 10 minutes today, the natural thing that we've been training in this society as people is I'm doing it because X, Y, and Z. If I do this, then I will be less calm, more calm. If I do this, I will have less anxiety. The answer to that is yes, you will, as a byproduct of the doing of the thing, not of the thing itself. So I always, with every client or anybody I work with, I don't like say you got to do it this way, or lay down and don't touch your face, and or you got to sit in a certain way. I'm always starting with people where they're at, which is right now, right here. Do you notice your mind? Is it there? Of course. Is it possible to label the fact that when you're thinking, it is just that, thinking,
Mm.
and it doesn't mean anything about you? If you can start to stack those moments throughout your day where you remember that you have a mind, you are straight up doing what the Buddha said. The Buddha said to be reminded is to be mindful, to remind oneself. And that
Mm.
is exactly what we do
Mm.
throughout the day. And so I don't ever start with my clients in a way that they can't, that's not accessible to them. I always start in their life, and I treat it like I'm a personal trainer. I have a tracker, I have them write it down. I'm having them curiously be looking throughout their life, not changing a thing, to actually notice, when did you notice your mind? And were you able in that moment when you noticed it to look at your mind without judgment or bias? Which is straight up the definition of mindfulness that we worked on in my training, which is mindfulness means to learn to bring our attention to the present moment by simply seeing what arises without bias or judgment. The instructions don't get any deeper than that. That's a really complicated statement, but that's all it is. Bias or judgment is straight up what we talked about at the beginning of this, which is just preference, our personal preference. We think that those things are just automatic, but they're not. We've created them throughout time, throughout our life. We're like, you know what, I prefer strawberries over apples. But why? Does that mean anything? It's just like, okay, it's preference. Are you able to look at that without judging it? It's just objective. I like strawberries over apples. It doesn't mean anything about me. It's just what this body likes right now. That's okay. Okay, we have preferences about the clothes we wear. We have preferences about, people who talk to us, or the way we move through life. Can you practice, when things arise, notice your judgment? If you're capable of doing that with a little bit of space, you're getting stronger every time. And the problem is that people don't think that that is good enough.
Mm.
They
Mm.
don't think that one rep is good enough, but it is. It is good enough. It's like a leak in your basement, right? Like, you just keep dropping like a little bit of water in your basement. Eventually, what happens? Your basement's flooded.
And the
This
truth
is
is, and the truth is,
exactly
if you have a bowl under there, you can't believe when you come back in 30 minutes and the bucket's full. You're like, holy shit, this is bad. This lady's leaking.
totally.
Yeah.
So that's a great example of, so
Yeah.
why don't we value one rep of mindfulness?
That goes back to
If
your
that's the
ROI,
truth,
that goes back to your return on investment.
correct. We want the finish line now. We don't want to do what it takes and actually be interested in just dropping into the bucket once. Straight up, you got to start somewhere. It's like dropping in the bucket once, dropping in the bucket twice. And you have to have trust and you have to have some sort of faith that when you do that, you're actually opening up and softening the mind. It's becoming more steady, it's becoming more stable. So you don't then have to tell your mind, don't think about that. It catches itself right there in the moment and says, oh, that's just thinking. It doesn't mean anything about me. Then you can integrate it and say, well, I wonder what I can do with this. And then you're moving through stress as opposed to doubling down or tripling down on it. Like, I've been reading all this shit about these Olympians and how they're all like, they all get nervous too. Somehow we like assume that Olympians don't get nervous because they're like flipping through the sky and like doing shit that's so dangerous. No, they get nervous. They just don't allow the nerves to mean anything about who they are.
Mm.
They're just like, oh yeah, I'm nervous, whatever. I'm going to go do the thing that I've trained to do. I'm going to step into the next moment. I wonder what this moment is. And if you literally are paying attention to that, you've already moved to the next moment. It's not something you did. You've already moved your focus to the air on your face, like the beautiful sunlight of Milan or the crowd cheering for you. Your focus has just gone like that, like you talked about as a teenager or a kid. And it gives you more perspective. It gives you more purpose, right? Like a lot of people that are more faith driven are almost better athletes because they have a
Mm.
sense of
Mm.
purpose.
Mhm.
They know why they're doing it. Like I listened to you talking to Sprague on the podcast, and like his devotion towards his faith is probably his superpower.
Mhm.
It's not
Mhm.
so much like that he's a kick-ass like athlete and he's fittest man on earth. Yes, that is also why he kills it, but he also kills it because he knows why he's doing it, the purpose for it. So it doesn't mean anything if he's not the fittest man alive. He still has inspired a generation and another generation of young athletes to go out there and be like, you know what? I want to be like that guy. Look what he did. Look how he moves through all the shit talkers about how he's not the fittest man alive. It's amazing. He's just like, all right, that's okay. It's just noise. It's just noise. It's just thoughts. It doesn't actually mean anything at all.
I like to say this line. This is going to what you were saying about thoughts. It's a little different than what you were saying, but you are not your thoughts, but you're responsible for your thoughts. And the interesting thing is so if you have a thought, I never thought about it in terms of judging your own thoughts. That illustrates it perfectly. But if you have this thought, um, and then you insert another thought in order to try to counter that thought, you won't get rid of that thought. If you have a thought that's like, God, I think that person's a horrible person, then you're like, God, I wish I wasn't that person who thinks other people are horrible. Now you have two thoughts. As opposed
Straight
to
up.
doing what, yeah,
And
as opposed to
yeah,
what you're saying, but I just don't. I remember so well what it's like, as you would say, just to be in the outside world and go from driving fast to getting alcohol to going to Taco Bell to trying to meet girls in that loop. And there were only obstacles in the outside world. Did I describe your high school
yeah,
also?
dude. Yeah. I mean, that's it's because we're
And so,
so focused on what we're attempting to achieve, which is like
yeah.
a puzzle straight up. You're like everything in that's what dude, you just described being in flow. That's exactly what it's like being in flow as an actor, athlete, or as a person.
Well, I would say
Being
this,
in
I was
flow is
ignorantly bliss. I lived in a bliss, but it was out of pure fucking ignorance and unconsciousness, like how I imagine a snail lives. You know what I mean? Just a dumb
but I
snail
don't think
moving
it
from
is
leaf to
I
leaf.
don't think it
Really?
is I don't think it is ignorance. I don't think it is. I think it's very intentional. You knew exactly what you were going for. You didn't know how you were going to get it,
Yep, yep,
and the
that's true.
world formed around it. What is the difference between that and trying to like max out your clean? It's the same thing. You're like, I don't know how I'm going to fucking do this, but I'm going to try. I'm going to
I
do
guess
everything in my power.
the thing is when you're not conscious of thoughts, like I actually thought I was those thoughts, and that's just the way life was done, and it really limited my choices, I should say. It really
Yeah,
limited my choices. I
yeah.
never got to that second thought that was like, "Wait, say sorry," and it's so much nicer. You know when someone cut you, that's just a classic thing. You cut someone off, they flip you off, and you roll down your window, you're like, "Dude, I'm so sorry." And then they wave and smile, and you're like, "Fuck yeah." You're so like you're so much more complete than if you flip them off back and you're thinking about them for the next 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah,
hate that.
because
I
it's
hate that feeling.
dude, it's like the parable of like, I don't know if the Buddha said it or somebody else said it, but it's the idea that like if you grab a piece of burning coal to throw it at somebody through anger, you get burned too.
Yeah.
That's the same idea, which is like we all have basic goodness. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to function through society. Like we have to trust that the people who built this house that I'm sitting in, who I don't even know, had well intentions when they were building this house. Otherwise, I would be fucking freaking out sitting
Right.
on this chair all the time.
Right.
We
Right.
have to have some sort of understanding that there's basic goodness in this world, that the people who built your car that you're moving 80 miles an hour, that the people who put these headphones on aren't trying to like kill you for their own benefit. Yes, there are ways where people are trying to do that. But bringing this back to acting, like I can't play a character that's quote unquote evil and think that I'm doing something wrong. I
Right.
have to
Oh,
believe that
oh,
I'm trying
wow.
I I have to believe that I'm trying to benefit the world in a certain way. And it's either benefit the world through my own success or it's to benefit the person in front of me. If I play it where I'm just trying to be evil, then you as the audience aren't going to see humanity in that person. And we're not going to see, oh shit, what are we capable of as human beings? And that's the point of drama. That's the point of movies. That's the point of stories is to be able to put us in a situation where you can see both points of view. And you're like, I don't know what I would do if I was put in that situation. Then it creates conversation. Then you and I can talk about it. Then we can have people from opposite sides of the political spectrum or religious spectrum. And we could actually have conversations because we could recognize there are two human beings that had moms, that had dads, that had birthdays, that had dreams and desires. They wanted to be held and they wanted to be loved at some point, and they just want to get through life in as safe, healthy as they possibly can, and for the people they love. It's just that circumstances are knocking people in, and it creates what drama, which is why we fucking love reality TV. It's why we love all this stuff because it's human beings trying to like get theirs, and the other person's trying to get theirs too. But yet there's two human beings who ultimately have basic goodness. And so eventually, if they can hear that, if they could recognize that, roll down their window and like wave at the other person, just be like, you know what? All good, dude. You're not thinking about it anymore. It's totally gone. You've moved on and you've actually created a ripple effect of positivity. You've aspired to be the person that you are now being. And it doesn't matter what happens to that guy, but you have no idea the positive change you could have made. None. You have no idea.
Um, going back, I'm beating a dead horse here. The thing is, And that was a great segue for what you said about being born. We're all good. Um, the thing is if you allow me to use the analogy of caterpillars and butterflies, there's caterpillars here. When I was in high school, I was a caterpillar. I hadn't turned into a butterfly yet, and so I didn't even have a moral. I didn't even have a moral compass or values or any of that stuff. Those words fell on deaf ear. I didn't even know. I don't even know that I don't even know. Like there was this, I remember listening to some guys talk in high school and they were talking about the insecurity they have. And I remember thinking, fuck, I'm not insecure about fucking anything. What the fuck are they talking about? And then finally, when I turned into a butterfly, I was like, oh shit, the reason why I didn't think I was insecure about anything is because I was insecure about everything. So I had not one data point about being secure about something to put it in context. And so that's also aligns to this like I often casually refer to them as just the NPCs, non-playable characters, or the people who are just around us, just sleeping. And it's an interesting thing. I mean, you can see it. You can go into a Starbucks and not pick up your phone and look at it and just look around, and you can just see people who are just completely oblivious. It
And
really
yet
is like it
every
is like
single
yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and yet every single one of those people that are oblivious or sleepwalking through life
Yeah.
are still human beings
Yes.
that have
Yeah.
wants, desires, and think they're
Yes.
the leads of their own movie. Every single one of them, every
Yeah.
single person you drive by in a car,
Yeah.
or you look at a giant skyscraper and recognize, just have the thought experiment. There's a human being in every single one of those windows.
Yeah.
I teach at Columbia in New York City, and so it's easy for me to just have my students look out and like look at a building and be like, just straight up think, just contemplate the fact that there are people inside of every one of those windows who are the leads of their own movie that you're not a part of. And yet you think your movie is the most important one.
Yeah.
How great we all do.
Yeah.
And so when we think that our movie is the most important movie, and right now you're like either a guest star, recurring, or series regular in my life, but right now that's what you are in my movie. If and I am a guest in your movie, but
Mm.
like this thing's going to end, and it doesn't mean that my movie is better than yours or more important. The fact is, we are all living this way, and if we could just wake up and like look out and see what's in front of us and recognize that there's another person doing exactly the same thing as you, then it trickles back down to like suffering, emotional suffering is universal. Emotional happiness is universal.
Mm.
Human nature is universal. And if you could just straight up contemplate that for a second, it makes the self consciousness disappear and you feel like you're a part of something. You feel
Mm.
like everything matters, that like, and then it starts to give you a sense of purpose. At least me, it starts to give me a sense of purpose, which is like, well, if I'm feeling sad with grief because somebody died in my life, and that feels so intense for me, that must mean it feels that intense for that person over
Mm.
there.
Mm.
Well, what would I want with compassion? I would want somebody to just listen
Mm.
and just be around me or make me laugh in that moment. And that's actual compassion, not empathy. It's compassion.
Mm.
It's like, what does that person really need right now? Like, I know you have kids, I have kids too. And like,
How many
the
kids do you
hard
have?
thing with
You have
being a,
multiple kids?
I have two kids. I have two kids. Yeah. I have a 10 and almost 8-year old. And the hard thing is being a parent is that we want to be compassionate for our kids, but really we're so confused as parents. We like live in this world of empathy where we need to like feel the same sadness that our kids are feeling. But when our kids are sad, ultimately, that's not what they're asking for. They're not asking for us to feel their sadness. They're asking for us to be compassionate, to understand their sadness, to hear them, to be a safe place of refuge for them. That speaks so much louder And the only way to be able to see that is to get out of your own fucking way. And so you can look out and you can see, oh, my kid's sad right now. What does he actually need? He needs his dad to just be chill, be there, be a steady place of refuge, and then maybe change the subject. Be like, dude, let's go watch TV. And then all of a sudden he's changed straight up. What I was talking about mindfulness. He has now taken his mind, released attachment to it, and shifted his focus, his attention over here. It's only then when he remembers that he was supposed to be sad that he gets sad again. But that's not actually the same moment as before. He had a moment of refuge where he's changed his focus. And that's all we need to do as adults, not just for our kids, but for ourselves. I'm sad right now. If you just sit and you watch it, the sadness goes away, change your focus over here. You're actually in a different moment. If you choose to be mad about it later, that's your choice. That's what you're putting your attention on. But you've actually moved on. And so we need to be able to look out so we could actually have real compassion, which is, one of my teachers said, real compassion is being able to be next to somebody that's in suffering and just be able to hold their hand, not feel their pain. And I always think about that. It's like, I think that sometimes we don't actually understand what it means to be genuinely compassionate. And so you have to train that. You have to look at that. You have to see the world and realize like there's actual things to be grateful for, which are like the people who have genuine natural goodness, who built that fucking car, who built this mug, who made that coffee. And if you just stop and like pay attention for that for a second, then it gives you a sense of agency. And you're like, well, what kind of basic goodness do I want to pass forward? It's really simple. And it's like, how does this translate to athletics or acting or any of that? It translates directly, because if you start to train that every single day throughout your day, of course that's going to be with you when you're working out or competing or on stage or giving an interview or feeling anxious, because you've been training that muscle to be able to see the world through that lens. It's really simple, but it's not easy.
The word you're describing, that compassion piece. Someone walks up to you, a friend, and they call you and they say, "Hey, just so you know," or you're talking to them, they're like, "Hey, I have cancer." And I think 99% of the people then reflect and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm so
I'm
sorry.
so
I'm so
sorry.
sorry." Yeah. And uh through years of practice, I've pulled that out of myself, and it's the exact same thing with kids, like you're saying. You have to just create space. That person at that moment isn't looking for a mirror. And on
No,
the big societal front, I think what we're having a real massive issue in society right now is people are confusing empathy and validation. When someone is struggling,
100%.
when someone is struggling, it's one thing to to listen and understand them. It's another thing to validate them. So I'm not interested in validating my kids' insecurities, my kids' traumas, my kids' issues, my kids' daily, hurdles. I'm there to be with them to create enough space so that they can solve it. But so many people feel uncomfortable, and so their first gut reaction is to mirror. And
It's
I
honestly,
it,
it's a
and
form
we're
of
seeing it on a
aggression.
map. It's a form of what?
It's a form of aggression, because what it is it's actually self-serving. It's like, this is making me uncomfortable, what you're presenting, so I'm going to attempt to control it. It's a it's a
I think of it as like being
it's a near
codependent. I
enemy.
think it as a like you're being a codependent to their.
Absolutely, but it's confusion. It's complete illusion. You think you're doing, and you know what? Like, they call this in Buddhism the near enemy, where you like quite literally are saying and doing the right thing. But the near enemy of compassion is pity. It's not actually compassion. You
Yes.
are saying you're compassionate. You're like, oh, I'm so sorry for you. But really, you're just pitying them.
Yes.
And you are not connected to them in there's a huge wall, a huge divide between you and the person that you're saying. But we as a society, it's really difficult because you can't call someone out on that because they've said the right thing, they've done the quote unquote right thing. But we all have this like icky feeling where you're like, I'm not being supported right now. But really, it's like, I'm not being seen, I'm not being understood. And that takes training to be able to see somebody. And the way you can do that is by being seen yourself. And if you are seeing yourself, if you're open, you're exposed, you're like, this is who I am. It actually is an act of compassion and generosity because you're allowing people to know who they're in front of. And if they know who they're in front of, they feel safe enough to then be themselves. It's a psychological game that you need to play. But like
And
if
it's
you're
uncomfortable.
feeling
I don't
like,
wanna say it's not uncomfortable for me after years of, I think I'm fucking amazing at it, but it's still always uncomfortable.
yeah, but you've practiced it.
Yeah.
It's not look, you
And I know
dude,
the outcome is
every
always
time we
better. I
walk
know the outcome is always better. Always.
every time we walk into the CrossFit gym and you look at what the WOD is, it's always uncomfortable. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
never you never like get good at it. What you get good at is being comfortable in the uncomfortable. Because you understand that like by putting myself in those uncomfortable situations, I am balancing humility and pride like constantly, and I'm giving myself the opportunity to grow and learn. Like I use this a lot with my clients. It's we value resistance training in exercise because we understand that resistance leads to strength. But in life, we do not value resistance. You feel a sense of resistance, you run away from it.
Mhm.
But yet it's direct example. It's like resistance leads to strength,
Mm.
leads to perseverance. So if you feel resistance in your mind, if you feel resistance in your emotions, if you feel resistance in a relationship, step forward, move into it, figure out what this is about. Resistance training. You will get stronger. It is so uncomfortable, but
Mm.
so is fucking doing 100 burpees for time.
Mm.
Like, no one's saying that that's easy, but we're so used to just like wanting things to be easy. Like, DoorDash, just send me my food. Like, ChatGPT, just write my paper for me. Like, I don't want to deal with what it takes to like sit in front of a piece of paper and like not know what you're going to write. But that's resistance. It's like step forward and you always gain something from knowing. You're like, that's not, even though I spent 2 hours writing that paper, that's not the correct paper. But now I know, right? Now I know. Another example that I use is all this shit is just mirrors for us.
Yep.
Resistance are just mirrors. And right now we live in a society where we are in a hall of mirrors. The distortion is so fucked up. It's so intense that we don't have any idea how to get out of it. And so we don't even want to move. We're so scared. So what do? First, you need to stop and recognize you're safe by looking at your feet and realizing, like, right now, you're just standing. You don't need to know where you are. You just need to know you're safe. Settle the system and then say, all right, if I want to get out of here, what do I need to do? I take a step forward. Let me
Move
try it
out
this
of the
way. Bang.
city. Move out of the city.
Yeah.
Sorry, go
Or
ahead.
you just like
Sorry.
you
Go
smack a
ahead.
you
Sorry.
smack a mirror and you're like, well, that's not the fucking way to go. That's okay.
You use that line, they're in a house of, they are in a house of mirrors, in the waiting room, and I wrote that down. That is why, um, like, living in a city is not real life. I guess it is real life, but I'm glad you explained it even better here than on the other podcast. You're right. People become afraid to move because they're all reflecting each other. And there's so many people you're trying to reflect to perfection and they're trying to reflect you that you're paralyzed by the path becomes so narrow of what's okay and not okay.
It's
Um,
scary. I get it. I mean, when you see yourself in an infinite way where there's no end, you literally see a reflection of yourself infinitely everywhere you turn. That's like a psychedelic trip, right? It's pretty intense.
that you don't even know
But if
you're
you
on.
stop and just no, because you don't know you're in a house of mirrors. So first you need to know it. First you need to know you live in a world where it's constantly reflecting at you. Everything you do, how you react to the people in front of you, how you care about your workouts, how you care about your pursuits in life, all of that are just reflections of who you are. First, you have to understand that that's true. Once you understand that that's true, then you can stop and actually develop a little bit more clarity where you're like, all right, well, where's my body in space right now? My body is actually not under attack. It's just standing and I'm okay. Which is the same thing with mindfulness, right? Like you sit there and you practice meditation and you're fucking freaking out. If you just have the thought where you're like, dude, you're just sitting, like literally, you're fine. You're not under attack. That's okay. Just see if you can sit. The difference between sitting and meditating and just sitting is just the point of view. So just sit, recognize you're safe, and then once you're clear and you've engaged the parasympathetic nervous system, make a choice. Choose who you want to be. Choose where you want to go. And it's okay. You don't have to be right. Just move. Step into action. Go ahead. See what you're made of.
Or don't.
Or don't. Or
Yeah.
don't. Stay.
Yeah.
Or just stay.
There's this Taoist saying, only confused people make decisions. Do you like the Tao Te Ching?
I don't know that much about it, but yeah, I mean, I like that quote. It's a good
It,
quote.
it it's a there was another one that was interesting. That it's been a huge influence in my life. Uh, I'll get your address and send you one of these. It's a Stephen Mitchell translation. It's awesome. And Stephen Mitchell's wife, you may know his wife. Shit, I forget her name. Stephen Mitchell's wife. His wife is the one that came up with the 5 steps, Byron Katie. And one of the steps
Okay,
is, who
sure.
would you be without this thought? And my wife will do that. I'll see my wife run through that one sometimes. Who would you be without this thought? I'm like, damn, that's good. Hey, just for people who are listening, if you don't understand what it means to be a mirror and reflect, but we're talking, if you go back to the thing, if someone tells you, do you have they have cancer, and the easiest way is just to reflect them and not stay into who you are and create space for them. And so you reflect them with, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You're trying to reflect their situation as opposed to not reflect someone. So, um, if someone's offended by something, you don't have to say, hey, don't be offended by that, or agree with them to that you don't have to say, hey, that's not offensive, or validate them and say, hey, you should be offended by that. You just hold the space, and it's uncomfortable, but that's how you're making room for that person to get past that and to get peace in their
And
own
and
life.
and what's hard about doing that, because we could just tell ourselves to do that, you have to actually train that. And the way you train by doing that is by recognizing what you as a person are attached to and what you want to push away. So you need to have less involvement in what the people who are talking to you are saying. That what they're saying does not mean anything about you. It's just
Mm,
them
mm,
reflecting what
mm.
they are feeling. It's not, even if they're saying, you didn't wash the dishes, you didn't walk the dog, it's you. They're not saying anything about you. It's only about them. And so if you're able to recognize that, like, that's not about me, And that's actually okay. This person is suffering and confused. I've been there. Well, what would I want if I was in that space? I would want somebody to have compassion for me and forgive me for like flying off the handle and be there to like give me a hug and make me laugh. Like, so why don't I then do that for them? You know, a really just like quick way of thinking is like, whatever you want, give.
Mm,
Like,
mm,
you want love, give love. You want money, give money. You want compassion, give compassion.
mm.
It really just makes it active. And it's like what you give comes back, right? That's the idea of karma. But like karma is straight up just action. It's the idea that like cause and effect. What you do has a ripple effect. And so if you want compassion and somebody's freaking out at you, well, what would you want if you were in that situation where you were freaking out? You'd want somebody to be funny and chill and like not take that shit personally when you call them a piece of shit or a good person or a bad person. You want somebody to be able to be steady and calm and not be offended. So you be that way. So you act that way. And then you show them that you are a place of refuge, a place of safety, and that no matter what they do, you will be there for them. And that creates such a larger lesson within that. And I mean honestly, that's what I love. I mean, I keep going back to CrossFit because I mean that's how we got to know each other here, but like I love that about Bison in particular, that like Dave and what he has set up. And I think it's because he comes from like a family of faith. I know you interviewed him. You talked about his brother who's a pastor, his other brother who's in the military like that. Like he really leads by example. He leads like CrossFit Bison is his church. And he is that way. He is
Wow.
the pastor of CrossFit. He is a guy like I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for him. He was able to like recognize this is something that I do, that this is out there, this is what I aspire to be. And he gave me a space to be able to train people and was like, you know what? I'm interested in this thing that you do. And he was curious about it and he brought it to the community. And he's constantly doing that. And the reason why CrossFit Bison has the top open registrations in the Northeast is because of that. It's not because we're trying to like get out there and be like, CrossFit Bison is proving to the world that like we can sign up for the open. No, it's a community that supports each other and everything they do. And I'll be honest with you, like when I was nervous to like go on the red carpet for Fallout and all of that, the thoughts that ran through my head was my CrossFit community at Bison. I kept thinking none of those people
That's
are in the
awesome.
entertainment industry. None of them are in the entertainment industry. None of them are looking at me being like, "Oh, I know somebody famous." They're looking out there and being like, "That guy's one of us. Look at him up there doing that cool thing. I'm
Yeah.
happy for him."
Yeah.
And that's what's called appreciative joy, which is the real joy. I know this guy is working his ass off to get up there and do what he's doing. I'm there for him. And honestly, like I don't want to get deep into this, but I think that's ultimately what CrossFit needs to notice in the larger scale is that we, like as a community, need to be able to support each other in that way. Where it's like that's one of us out there. That person is an example of our community. That's why the affiliates matter so much. It's quite literally a place of refuge for me. When I have a shitty audition or someone's a dick to me on set, I go back to Bison, I fucking lay on the floor, get ready for a wad, and I always feel good. I feel supported there and
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
And that's created amongst the methodology of why CrossFit exists. That's part of it. That's in the pulse of it. And that's why I'll always be a supporter of CrossFit. I'll always be a supporter of community, fitness community like that, because it quite literally, the byproduct of doing that is getting fit. People forget that. The byproduct is getting fit. The actual thing that people are getting is life-changing amongst the community.
Mm.
I mean, I got to shout out CrossFit Santa Clarita, Valencia.
Mm.
When I was shooting Fallout in Santa Clarita, I dropped in there every day. And I love those. Those people welcomed me in like I was one of their own. I did the open there last year. And that only exists in the religious community, right? You think about that. Like, I need a church. Okay, I'll go to church over here. I need a Buddhist temple. I'm going to go find one over there. And there's never a question about it. They're just like, yes, you're one of us. Come on in. And even if you're not one of us, they're like, come on in. If you're curious, let's explain this thing to you. That is the point of all this. The fact that like I could go to Santa Clarita, Valencia. When I visit my wife in Gaithersburg, Maryland, I could go to CrossFit Enforce over there. And I could just say, hey, I'm Bison. And I can, like, that's just your home team, but everyone's supporting you. That's an incredible thing about it. And that's what the Open's all about, is like, it brings the community, it's a community celebration. Sure, it's the beginning of the competitive season, and it needs to be that way. And so we should allow the people who want to compete on the highest level compete there and like move through it. But those people like Sprague and all those people, like, they're just the celebration of our community. They wouldn't exist if the community wasn't there. Like, it wouldn't matter. What they're doing wouldn't matter if we didn't have a community. And so that's what the
100%.
CrossFit Games are.
100%.
It's a celebration of community. That's what it is. And if we
Hey,
lose
you know what's
track
crazy?
of that,
This new, I think a lot of the athletes lost that understanding. And I think this new breed, I think Jason, Dallin, Justin, and James at Colton, I think they have a tremendous amount of gratitude because they realize that the more people sign up for the Open, it benefits them. The more people that are, it absolutely. We've come to a very interesting point to where the athletes have re-embraced that part. And I know it's hard. It's not easy because it takes away from their time to be the best at what they're going to be. But they've really found a way to really appreciate the community more than ever. They're really giving a lot of themselves these days.
1,000%, and it ultimately will make them stronger.
Yeah,
because then they understand the purpose of why they're doing the thing they're doing.
Oh,
and when you have purpose, then you'll go out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that if you understand the purpose of why you're doing the thing, then you're going to go out there and try and max out on your lift. Because when you have a purpose, like, what's that quote? The Victor Honolin, not Honolin,
Alex
the
Honnold?
dude who wrote, no, not Alex Honolin, Victor, the person who wrote Man's Search for Meaning.
Yeah.
It's like, when a person has a reason to live, there's no how, or something like that. I'm butchering the quote.
Oh no,
but
that was Yoda. That was Yoda. No, I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
I'm joking.
But that's
Frankel, Mr. Frankel.
Victor Frankel, yeah. But that's the point. The point is that, like, when you understand why you're doing the thing you're doing, it gives you strength, mental strength, which then leads to physical strength, because then it starts to bring you into the zone, the moment, whatever, flow, and allows you to actually see things in slow motion, as opposed to being like, I got to do this for my sponsor. I need to do this for this. I need to do this for me. We have to be able to, like, open it up and be like, oh my God, if I lift this lift, I wonder if I could lift this lift. It's going to inspire people. And there's athletes in every sport that do that. Like Tiger Woods did that for golf. Like Jordan did that for basketball. It's like they kind of Kobe, right? They understood the purpose of pursuit of excellence. And it goes, Scotty Scheffler is doing it right now with golf. It's like they understand the physical pursuit is a community-driven thing. And it's built into the fabric of what CrossFit is. And I personally have drank the Kool-Aid in that, because if we remember that, and no, like, I mean, quite literally, like, I know that Bison runs deep. Like, the amount of people that have traveled to, like, go support Bobby at the CrossFit Games when he did it last year, or Dave when he's pursuing, the CrossFit Games, or just local comps. Like, Bison is always the ones that are signing up for, like, the local comps, or supporting each other, and, like, bringing the community deep, because there's no other point. Like, it makes it worthless otherwise.
Let me ask you a very superficial, practical question. You're at the CrossFit Games. You have an athlete. You're there, Rafi Silver, with the coach's pass for an athlete. It's a 13 event games, 4 days long. Event 5 is a max lift, and your athlete comes off and is crying, and says, and you saw them fuck up. They put the wrong weights on, and they lost 2 placements. They took 7th when they could have easily have taken 5th because of a fuck up error, and they're crying. Go. What do you do?
The first thing I would say is fuck yeah for showing up to that. Number one, you showed up. Number two, mistakes happen. Was it a mistake that you could have controlled? That's okay too. Number three, next rep. What's the next event? This is where you're at now. It really doesn't actually matter. And also, you can sit there with their sadness and be like, yeah, I understand that you're sad. That does suck. And you just allow it to pass. You sit there and then you look and say, you know what? Look at that person out there who's competing. Imagine if that happened to them. How would you want them to feel? So then, right, that person feels sad. They look out at their friend or somebody they're competing with. Go root for them to lift that weight, so that doesn't happen for them. Really, if you just shift that point of view and then you go root for that person, it takes you out of your own self-pity and allows you the space to be like, okay, this is larger than just that lift. For it next time. That's what happens with injuries all the time. Like, shit happens. I remember Dave Syverson. I was coaching him a few years ago, and he was doing the semifinals, and it was filmed. And it was one of those 20-minute workouts, and they were filming it. He got through the middle of the workout, and his wife was like, oh shit, the camera turned off, Dave. And
boy.
He was pissed. He was upset. He got
boy.
mad. He ran out of the gym, like, angry. And then I went and sat with him, and I was like, yeah, dude, that sucks. But I said, what's next? How you walk back into that gym says more about who you are than what just happened. Because I said, you got 2 choices here, man. Are you going to do it again or not do it again? And he's like, well, I'm going to do it again. I'm like, well, then you get to do it again. Not you have to. You get to do it again. And that's it. You get to try again. Fuck the camera. That happened. Circumstances arise, right? Mindfulness means learning to bring your attention to the present moment by simply seeing what arises without bias or judgment. The camera turned off. Circumstances arise. Can you see that without bias or judgment? Because right now you're in a new moment. And the new moment. No. And you know what? Fuck no. Sometimes I can't. But then you can laugh about it. Right? We both laughed about it.
Yeah.
Like, he actually had a funny moment where, like, he was pissed and he was walking on the street. Bison, some dude pulled over and was like, asked him if there was a coffee shop nearby. Like, here's this dude without his shirt on, like, pissed. This fucking camera turned off. And the guy's like, hey, is there a coffee shop near here? Well, that's a perfect example of being like, I'm going to rip that guy's head off. Or like, what does that guy actually need in this moment? He's just looking for coffee. It's like a good mirrored reflection of like, well, it doesn't actually matter.
Because that guy's the star of his movie, and you're the star of your movie. Yeah.
Your pursuit of excellence only matters to you. And so how you go through the peaks and valleys, the ups and downs, says more about that, you and your pursuits, than the fact that that girl comes off the thing and messed up the weights or got no rep or whatever. So what's your choice? You going to do it again? You going to quit? No. Show up again. Next rep. That's okay. That happened. And it's okay to feel sad about it too. Because where are you at now? So what did he do? He did the workout again. He made it through to the next round or whatever. I think it was quarters or something. And then made semis. So it was like, so you did it. Well, did you get this? Was he on pace to do exactly what he was doing before? No. But did it matter? No. And if it did matter, would it matter in the long run? No. No one's going to say on his fucking tombstone, Dave's camera turned off when he was attempting to like make semifinals. But in that moment, it feels like it means life or death, but it doesn't actually mean that way. Like your pursuit of excellence is like razor thin, and you got to know that. You're trying to do something that like the top 1% in the world is capable of doing, and you're in that arena. That's you've made it this far. That's okay. So what are you going to do next? It's really that simple. And so it's like next rep. But really next rep, where's your feet at now? Where are you right now? You're sitting here, and the quickest way to do it is to get out of your own mind and put yourself out there at that other person. Go root for that person. It changes the mindset immediately.
For people listening, if you want to put a practice in place that's very difficult with a very, very high reward that's accessible to everyone, a pursuit of excellence, and I'd be curious to take your take on this, Rafi. This will reward you in many ways, is try to pursue the excellence of being honest about every single thing you do. So when you're on the phone with someone and you need to get off, don't tell the white lie that, hey, my kid's calling me. Everywhere you go, don't do a single dishonest thing in your life. Just get on the straight and narrow as great as you can. And you will, for me in my life, is my wife pushed me more and more to pursue just that perfect. And I was around some people like Dave Castro, because you'll tell these lies in order to be nice to people or to just navigate or to reflect. But really kindness spends equity of integrity. And at the end of the day, you'll live a fuller life, and greater people will gravitate towards you, not with how nice you are, but with how much integrity you have. I think integrity is like a huge piece that people just forget, is like our main attraction to people, even more so than kindness. Kindness can be fleeting and can be really misunderstood. And so that in that way that you're saying, if you want to pursue excellence and you don't want to do it with the barbell and you don't want to do this, all of us can practice that one, is just pure honesty. And it doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. It doesn't mean you have to vomit. It doesn't mean someone's walking by you and you think their shirt's ugly and you say, hey, your shirt's ugly. But it's an honesty is really a powerful mechanism to get on the path.
I think ultimately it's honesty with accountability, because it's not just let me fucking tell you my opinion.
No,
right?
no.
It's honest.
Yeah, please.
Right. It's honesty with the sense that like, this is my experience. This is my experience with the thing that's happening, and owning that. Because then it allows space for the other person to have their own experience.
And a dishonest mind is a very active mind. A dishonest mind, it supercharges the activity. You don't want an active mind.
No.
You know what I mean by that? Like every time you're dishonest, your mind is like, it works extra hard.
Because I believe we're all basically good. And I think because we have basic goodness, we have some sort of regret for the fact that we were dishonest in that moment. And that's just really that. Because when we do something good, we don't think about it again.
I don't think it's because we're good. I think it's because then we feel like we have to guard something. I used to think
What
we
are
were all I used to go ahead, go ahead.
what are we got? Well, I'll ask you, what are we guarding?
The lie, the
But
illusion
where did the lie come from?
within
The
us.
the lie,
Avoiding
yeah, it
some sort
came
of
from
discomfort, so we lie. We don't wanna say the truth like, "Hey, I'm done talking, bye."
because we think other people are better than us or will judge us or
Will
something
judge
like
us.
that.
Yes, yes.
Correct.
It's
And
feigned
guess what?
kindness. It's
They
feigned kindness.
they they are judging you.
Right, right, right.
They are already judging you.
Right,
They're going to judge you even if you do the quote right thing.
right,
They are going to judge because that's human.
right.
We judge, we have preference, right? We will judge everybody for doing everything they do. Even if they're, so you have to be able to have accountability for your own basic goodness and say, you know what? I fuck up sometimes, but I can next rep. I can be a better person on the next go. I can try and take this other person into consideration when I'm talking to them. And you can control that. And if you can control that, it softens the mind in a way where you're not like regretting things. You're not looking back and you're thinking, oh shit, I could have done that differently. You're like, I did it the way I did it. And that's okay too. I'm a complicated fucking being. I yelled at that person when I didn't want to. You know what? Next person I'm going to be kind to. And I'm not going to dwell on that. We're human beings. I made that action. And because I've been practicing mindfulness, I recognize I made that action. That's not the action that I want to make. That's not the aspiration that I'm leading. I recognize that with some space. So next rep, I'm going to be the person I want to aspire to be. The more and more you stack those moments, the more and more that becomes your default and you're not even thinking about it. You just start to become that person.
Yeah.
And then the world around you starts to see that and you start to magnetize that honesty and people feel more honest around you. They feel like, hey, we can talk about this thing. Like, he's not going to judge me for speaking about who I am. It's like, because I'm not judging me for speaking about me, and I'm allowing space for you to be who you want to be. That takes training, that takes practice, and that's the type of honesty that we're talking about here.
And vigilance. There is no I think people need to be aware there's no homeostasis. You never get there. It's not like you do 200 CrossFit workouts and you're like, I'm in shape, and then you don't have to work out the rest of your life. It requires constant. You got to show up to the gym every day. You have to show up to your mind every day. It's constant vigilance. You're never going to get there, and then all temptation to lie goes away.
And this is
It's always
exactly where we
that
started.
door's never gonna close. It's always gonna be open, the easy way out. Sorry, my kid's calling me. Always there.
Dude, this is exactly where we started the conversation, is the return on investment.
Yeah.
Which is the point is that if we think that it's some finish line, we're fucked.
Yeah.
The path is the purpose.
Yeah.
You're always going to need to work out. You're always going to need to eat healthy. You're always going to need to be kind. You don't get to the end of kindness. You don't get to the end of fitness. You have to make the pursuit of being these types of people the return on investment. You need to be able to make that the most valuable thing of your day. You need to say, I work out, and just working out is the value. That's the thing. It's not where I'm headed with it. It's the fact that I showed up today and I was able to show up again, and I keep showing up. Because you, like you said, in that house of mirrors, you could just stand still. You could. Or you can like step forward, get hit in the face, and step over here. Eventually, you might find your way out. Maybe not, but at least you've been moving around and you've had a much more exciting life as opposed to just standing there, scared to move ahead.
Another interesting phenomenon about what we're talking about is in life, there's so many things that are transactional, and this is not transactional in the sense that I can't be like, Rafi, I'm not going to the gym today. Could you do an extra 100 burpees for me and give me that fitness? There is no one's coming to save you. No one's going to do it for you. No one can give it to you. There's no magic pill. Like, this is not transactional. And so many people, that's what makes the business such an interesting business model also. And you've described why you're so attracted to it, because of the community and because of the space and because of the support and the welcomeness. But this is a solo, it's a solo journey, like CrossFit, the mind trick.
Everything. I mean, everything is, and we blame our we blame society. We blame everything that happens to us as like victims of circumstance, but it's not. We've created the conditions around us, and yeah, things happen. Shit happens, but how we relate to that, our involvement with it, that's the solo sport that we're all playing here. And so, how you choose to work on that will determine how your life is. Quite simply, can you like really make the best of it? And it's not tell yourself to make the best of it. It's quite literally make the best of it. All right, like that kid, or like you were talking about as a teenager. You're just constantly being like, "Oh, how do I get the next girl? How do I
Yeah.
get the next fucking, you're just making the best of it. She turned me down. How about you?"
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're just like, all right, I'm going to party tonight. Like, that's what you're like, under any circumstance, I'm going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And so you make the best of it. It's so you're right. It is a solo sport. Everything is. And everything needs to be unconditional. I need to do it without conditions. Unconditional love means that like that person could be insane and you still love them for who they are. So you need to be able to recognize in yourself, are there conditions that to this pursuit? And if there are, then it's a result oriented activity, and it's going to lead to pain and suffering.
A few times.
That's why I use the word aspiration as opposed to expectation.
Look,
I
we made
break
a
it down in
dollar.
that way.
The show's over. Speaking of transactions, show's over. We got a
All
dollar.
right.
Um, it's interesting you say that about unconditional love. So that was my journey, unconditional love. And recently I realized that we live in a society that aspires, for some reason, for maximum tolerance. And when you're in a society that allows that's this maximum tolerance, and I use that synonymous, and you can unfuck me if you want later, and I'd be happy to get unfucked. I use that synonymous with unconditional love. Um, you breed the most intolerant people, and that there's a paradox there, right? There's a conundrum. I'm not sure what the word is, but we have a problem now, because in a society where we've wanted to be maximum tolerant, maximum love, maximum acceptance, we have bred this cohort of individuals who have maximum intolerance. And
It's because the
we
unconditional
can't,
love is confused.
let me just say, yeah, I think so. So let me give an example, and maybe it's not a good metaphor, but I'm growing this orchard with food in it for society, and people are coming there and defecating in the morning, and I'm like, hey, can you go shit over there? Because this is the food. There's plenty of room to go shit over there. Go shit over there in that field. But we have this society then that is looking at me and being like, yo, you fucking asshole. You're not allowing people to shit. That's a total natural thing to do. People do every moment. This is the free earth. Let them shit wherever we want. And it's like, I want to let you shit wherever you want. I really do.
It's
But,
be,
I'm
because
growing this food for the rest of us. And
dude,
we
it's
have this
complete.
fucking like,
It's
what is the confusion?
it's a fog. People live in a fog, in a confusion, because they're not considering the other person that they're giving unconditional love to. Like, I'll give an example. When we give a gift, right, unconditionally, you're making that gift, you're considering that gift out of love, unconditional love. What you're not expecting them to give you the thanks of like dropping to their knees and crying. You're giving that gift out of love. You don't need anything in return. It's like giving charity or giving, giving a place of refuge. That's giving something unconditionally. But it's not unconditional if it's at the expense of you, right? Like straight up, it's really simple. When you're on an airplane and what's the thing that they tell you with the oxygen? The thing you're supposed to put on the oxygen first so then you can help the person next to you.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, just take my oxygen and I'll just sit here and die.
Right.
Well, then what good is that? Like, that's not helping anybody. It's not helping you. It's not even helping them. Like, all of a sudden, like, you don't help, you die so your kid can survive, and now they're fucking parentless.
Right.
How is that helping them?
That's
So
the
it's a
Sorry.
matter of clarity, right? I am growing this food to support the community. If you take a shit in it, I can't support the community. Therefore, you cannot take a shit in my food. I will help you if you need a place to take a shit. I will guide you to a bathroom, which we have decided is over here where people take shits, so we can grow food that is actually beneficial and supporting at large, the community at large. And that is the same thing that we were talking about compassion versus pity and empathy.
Yeah.
It's being able to look at things with clarity so you can recognize what is really being needed and what is really being said here. And does the thing or what I'm saying or what we're doing actually benefit people at large? And there's a lot of gray area in this. So there
I'll give you
needs to
yeah.
be,
I'll give
there
you a great
needs to
example. I'll give you a
be,
great example. As a kid, on 4th of July, there'd be a alcohol checkpoint in my neighborhood. And as a 16 to 25-year-old, I fucking hated that. Fuck you, you're taking away my constitutional rights. As a 53-year-old with 3 kids, I'm like, yeah, I'd put 4 of those in my neighborhood. Do your
I mean,
part
it
for
makes,
civilization and don't fucking drive drunk. I got kids in the street. But as
I mean,
25, when I'm the drunk one on the street, I'm like, fuck you. How can I get around
it's,
this point?
it's why we have systems in place in general is to be able to benefit people at large. That's the whole point of that's why we have crossroads. That's why we have the green and red and yellow lights on
Yeah.
the fucking streets.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we would just natural basic human thing, since we're the leads of our own movie, we would just go ahead. Or we would literally be paralyzed and no one would go anywhere. So we create the conditions to be able to exist in a society which we're doing our absolute best proposal of benefiting people at large. And is everyone going to be benefited from this? No. But that's why it's a moving target. And we need to be able to listen to everybody's opinion about it and actually hear what they're really trying to say, not what they're saying and saying, no, you can't say that. It's like, well, I did say it. Let's have a conversation about what we really mean here. Where are we trying to get to here? And it's ultimately like, that's why I keep referring to basic goodness. I think it's ultimately everybody has that kind of understand, and it like shows up during tragedies, right? Like 9/11. I grew up in New York City and it's 9/11 occurs. And then all of a sudden, like people who I never would have like spoken to, I'm putting them in my vehicle and saying, where do you need to go? Do you need some water? Let me give you some food. It's like, why? Why all of a sudden? Because circumstances have shifted, where all of a sudden we start thinking beyond ourselves. What do people need? If I was in that scenario, how would I benefit them? We can actually make that choice constantly, but we're so comfortable in our own, like, me, that we don't actually look ahead of us and we're not listening to each other. We're not seeing through the fog because people do not want to see through the fog because it's uncomfortable. It's resistance training. And people don't want to do that with their mind or in society.
What
But
do
we have to.
during 9/11 is a good example. I think COVID's a good example. I felt this wave of unconsciousness kind of sweep over society. I saw like some of our most conscious leaders fall into unconsciousness. You know, like with 9/11, it was to be aggressive back. Like, hey, we like there was a like a blanket of consciousness is like to be aggressive back, right? And with COVID, there was this sweeping over of people who I thought would watch their minds, but they embraced the fear. You know what I mean? Like these waves, and they were doing things, and I was like, wow, you sat down and you were compelled to. You're a sitter, and you're a space creator, and yet you're compelled to do this. You didn't let that thought go. Do you ever think about that? Like those two instances or any big instances where it's like, wow, a wave of unconsciousness just kind of gripped everyone.
Yeah, because I mean, we can go deep into this, but ultimately it's like, and I talk about this a lot on pretty much every podcast because or in general, I talk about this with my clients a lot. It's this concept and really contemplation of impermanence, which is that when you're in a situation like 9/11 or COVID or a tragedy in your family or a fucking tree lands on your car when you're not expecting it, it shows you directly that nothing is in your control.
Mm,
And yet we deeply, deeply, deeply believe that we are in control and we have
mm.
agency in our life. And we do not. And everything around us, just like that thought of pink elephant that dissolves, everything is changing all around us at every moment. And we just are denying that every moment we are alive, we are stepping towards death. That literally, like we pull a fruit off its vine, it is starting to die. And it's actually the most tasty when it's a little bit more dead, i.e., ripe, right? It's more dead. And then all of a sudden it gets to a point where it's past its prime and it's more dead. But everything around us is dying constantly and shifting and changing. And so if we're put in a position where we don't want to face that music and we want to deny that over and over and over again, it's like a fucking Shakespearean tragedy. You're trying to fight what's true, and it's not possible. You cannot fight death. Death is coming, and we don't know when it's coming. So if that's true, which it is true, you get to choose what you want to do in this precious moment because the next one's not guaranteed. And it creates a deep, dark sadness because you can think of your kids, I can think of my kids and recognize that like they could die at any moment for circumstances that we don't know and cannot control. And so we try and set these systems in place, which is like, this will stop him from being in trouble. This will stop him from having sickness. This will stop impermanence. And the more and more you fight it, the more and more it's going to smack you in the face. And it will create a ripple effect of like destruction. Because in order to fight impermanence, or at least attempt to fight impermanence, you need to step on somebody else's toes. You really do. You need to
It's funny you say that
violently.
because I was picturing 9/11 and COVID as a stampede, like in an audience where someone fired a gun and everyone stampeded and people got trampled. Like
Yeah, because
no
that's
one
what
stayed still.
happens.
So few people stayed still, and everyone trampled towards one door, and fucking people got hurt. More damage was done in the
And
stampede than done in the actual firing of the gun in the auditorium. And it's like, what the? And like if you're standing back, you're like, what the fuck?
who are the people from 9/11 that we value in society? The firefighters who
Right.
full well knew they were probably going to die, who
Yeah.
ran up those stairs to attempt to save people
Right.
because what they had been training for their whole life was a sense of purpose.
Yep.
And it was crystal clear. That's what our military is doing. That's what the police are doing every single, like, when people have that crystal clarity about what their purpose is, being of benefit unconditionally to support the greater good, we value that. We lift that up in society. We build statues, we create days for them, you know, as we should in society, because that is an example of what we can pursue in life. And it doesn't need to be on the grandest scale of risking your life running up a building at 9/11, but we can do small acts of that every single day, holding the door open for somebody. Like there's an old lady coming out of the grocery store and she's struggling with her stuff. Like go over and attempt to help her. But we live in a society where she'll be like, "Stay away from me," and you can like be like, "You know, I'm just here to I'm just here to
specifically
help you."
specifically for 9/11 and for whatever anyone thinks, bear with me for my narration, but specifically for 9/11, the war machine fired up. We went over to and killed Saddam Hussein. Lots of people died. The war machine went over there. All of a sudden, TSA got crazy. We started spending billions on spying on people and all these new laws and restrictions. That's what I mean by the stampede. Or for COVID, it was like the stampede caused all these people to rush to get medical attention, and get injections put in their bodies. Tons of businesses were shut down. That's what I mean. There wasn't a mindfulness to it. It wasn't like, hey, if we shut down every CrossFit gym, that could actually hurt people. It was just a stampede of in my
Fear.
mind of madness in both situations, where now we look back and I don't know as much about what 9/11, but now when I look back at COVID, I'm like, wow, there was a lot of fucking destruction here. Like there's a lot of kids who got hurt by being pulled out of school or not being able to see people speak with their masks on, or it's like 400,000 small black owned businesses in California closed that will never reopen. And it's like, wait, weren't we just right before then supposed to? And that's what I mean by like, there was an unconscious stampede. And
It's
I think
yeah,
that the
but can
practices
you
you're talking,
imagine?
yeah.
Can you imagine if we had a leader ever in society that straight up says the words, "I actually don't know what to do, but this is my best take on it." That's the problem, is people say it has to be this way, it has to be that way. None of us fucking knew what to do during COVID. Nobody, including our administration. Nobody knew. Like nobody knew what to do. It was a new territory. And so our leaders need to straight up come out there, and we don't give them that kind of grace, but it takes that kind of grace to be able and power. Like we were just talking about this, about having accountability and honesty to step out there and say, I will be of benefit and lead, but I actually don't know how. This is our best take. And we're going to reassess on this tomorrow. I don't know what to do, but we're going to reassess tomorrow. I would have had a lot more grace when people talk to me that way, because I would have been like, that's exactly the way that I would have attempted it too. Let's get everybody in the room, and listen. Yeah, that's how like Hollywood movies and TV shows get written. They get written by one person, and then you get a writer's room, right? You get a whole bunch of people in there who are just pitching ideas, and like the best idea kind of wins, or the best proposal
You don't think
wins.
that's what happened with COVID?
Maybe it did. It's just that
Oh,
we maybe it did. I'm sure that
yeah.
that is what happened behind closed doors. But I think we give this illusion of safety and control, and we're
Yeah, yeah,
teaching this
yeah,
like
yeah,
fake,
yeah.
fake display. It's like, no, that's not how the fucking sausage is made here. Like, it's okay to just hear the dissent and be okay with it. It's very open. Everything is gray, saying we don't know. And I think COVID, 9/11, any kind of tragedy brings us back to this impermanence that like we actually don't fucking know anything all day long. All we know is that I get another breath. And so what do I want to do with it? That's it. It's the trickle down effect. Like I have no idea anything that I'm speaking about. It's all my best take today.
Can I ask a
And then
question?
I'll leave this podcast.
Do you know anyone who died from COVID, just out of curiosity?
My dad
Your dad
died
died from
of,
COVID?
my dad died most likely of the vaccine of COVID. My dad had the vaccine and then got a blood clot a couple weeks later and then passed away. So who knows? But that's the thing. I don't know. And you know what? I don't blame the vaccine, and I don't blame that he took it, because at that point, he thought he should take it and he
Right.
wanted to take it and he
Right.
went willingly and took it. So I'm not going to sit here and create my whole life like we shouldn't have fucking taken the vaccines or this or everybody was giving their best take. And my dad gave his best take and he happened to be a casualty of COVID. And you know what? There's so many other casualties of COVID that weren't actually COVID. People who died of alcohol, you know, poisoning because they were stuck in their home. People died of
Murder,
mental
rape,
illness, murder. Yes, they're all casualties of COVID.
that phenomenon, yeah.
But yeah, which is the fact that we were in a giant mirrored reflection of society. COVID, all it was a house of mirrors. That's all it was, and people were very scared, rightfully so. Rightfully so, because when all of a sudden your life gets flipped out from under your feet, what do? You need to have the ability to stop.
If you have a practice,
Yes,
you probably would start relying more on your own discernment than outside. You would have a balance between your own discernment and outside reflections coming in.
correct. You can stop, you can pause, you can create some clarity, right? Like a lot of analogies are used in mindfulness, but a good one is like if a water is boiling and it's filled with some sort of sediment, the only way to see through clearly is to turn the boil down, let the water settle, and the sediment falls to the bottom and you can see through the water clearly. That's what mindfulness is. It's stopping the monkey mind, the restlessness. It's creating conditions to see clearly. It's creating enough space so you can let the dust, let the sediment fall, so you can just see through right to the bottom. It's really that simple. Stop, let the dust settle, watch the dust dissipate into the sky. Notice that's the natural phenomena of how everything arises and occurs. Everything arises out of emptiness and then dissipates into emptiness. We can see that, examples of that everywhere. And if we're willing to look at that, that is the ultimate insight that we'll be able to notice with our minds, with our actions, with everything. And if we have the courage to be able to watch that happen, then we can move forward skillfully with our best take. Like your guess is as good as mine. And so let me attempt.
How are you on time?
Yeah, I should probably go.
Okay, then I have one more question for you. This one's hard. I've always thought that the word using the word evil was intellectually lazy. Like when someone says that's evil. I've surrounded myself with a ton of Christians. I'm seeing the best thing I can say is that some people here, like going back, are caterpillars, and um and some people are, they've had their awakening and they've turned into butterflies, and now they know the difference between right and wrong. When Christians say evil, what do you think that they're talking about? Or when they use the word Satan, what do you think from your Buddhist lens? What do you think they're referencing?
I think they're referencing a state of mind that is confused, that believes that the illusion that is in front of us at all times is real. That's what I think it is. I think that it's if we can recognize that everything in our experience is our own manifestation of our own mind's attachment to what we think is right and wrong and real and not real, if we can recognize that that's true, you're closer to a state of heaven or nirvana than if you believe that all of that is what it is. If you believe that that person did you wrong, if you believe that this is because of you, me, you're in a state, you're in a spiral of hell because all you're trying to do is find your way out of it and it leads to wrong action. And I believe that evil people are ultimately just confused. And so I wish them, as a Buddhist, free of confusion. Because if they weren't confused, they would do things with right action, with positivity, with generosity, with compassion. Because that's what's actually in front of us. And if you can stop and see that, then you're more in a state of heaven, i.e., bliss, nirvana. That's what I think that they are referring to in that, which is a state of confusion, which is hell, which we all live in. And if you can just shift the point of view, then you're in a state of heaven. Because what's the difference? Quite literally, when you are in full suffering mode, how can that not be hell? And when you feel like you can't get out of it, isn't that what hell is? I mean, I'm not a Christian, so I don't know, but that's like, I would assume that's the understanding of it. It's a spiral of just pure suffering where you can't get out of it. There's no way out. Well, we can live in that experience right now.
Yes,
or not.
We'll have hopefully we can have Rafi back on. This is where so you think every person is inherently good. We won't go into that right now. There's this guy. He used to be in the CrossFit space, and he went by Fitness Lonnie. You might want to Google him. And he made all these funny videos. And since then, in the last 12 years, he's been a monastic monk. And he now goes by the name Tisserot. It's very, very difficult to get a hold of because he goes on these huge, long vows of silence all over. If you are able to somehow come across his path, I think you will be absolutely tickled by what exploration he's done with his mind in the last 12 years. I have the pleasure of emailing with him once a year, and he's come to my house a couple times. It's absolutely, I feel like I'm a 3-year-old around him. It's so fun.
That's awesome.
But he was a hardcore CrossFitter. He was a beast. And when he first took the path, I was terrified for him. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on. You, what is the name of your? If you are offering your services as a mind coach?
Yeah, I am.
And are you actually taking clients now? You sound so busy.
I am. I'm busy. I am taking clients. I'm being very precise about that, just because of time. Ultimately, I aspire to be able to teach some sort of mindfulness around towards affiliates. That would be ideal. I feel like the ultimate spread that I can spread more is if I bring just the basic version of mindfulness towards the coaches in affiliates, and then their understanding or transmission of that, then they can trickle it into their own affiliates, and that'll create more positive change. But for private clients, yeah, I am taking a few, but it depends on timing, obviously.
And you had my Instagram is frozen. You have an Instagram account for that. What is that again?
So my actor Instagram, my display of human being that I am as a entertainer, is at Rafi Silver Official.
Yeah.
And then for
I found it.
for mindfulness and for training, when I train actors and people like that, athletes, it's peak.mind performance. Yeah. And there you are, Simone. Your little video you talked about with Dave.
All right. You the man, Rafi. I really appreciate you coming on. I love the discussion. So much more to talk about. I hope our paths cross again.
Fuck yeah. This was great. I had a great time, man. Appreciate it.
Have a great workout today. Thanks for what you're doing for humanity and civilization. The best thing we can do is work on ourselves.
Thank you. Yep. Likewise. You're doing great.
All right,
All
brother.
right.
Have a good day.
Peace.
Bye. Rafi Silver. Hey, that show, I'm not bullshitting you guys. That show Fallout's crazy. And worth seeing. Mario Sevan, thank you for continuing to come back to your main goal of answering where we came from, where we are going, and why we are here. Love all the other stuff, but I'm here for spiritual journey. If you Mario, you would really like this. Especially you. I think you would like this podcast he did with I forget the guy's name, but the podcast is called In the Waiting Room. And this guy he's speaking with is a Christian. And towards the end, he talks about his rebirth and he pushes back on Rafi about evil, about us all being good versus us all being born into sin. And it is such a good, it's so good. They don't come to any conclusion. They touch on it and then back away from it, but it is so good. There's so much meat on the bone there. And the interviewer is so silent throughout the entire interview, but when it comes to that, this guy fucking kills it. Let me play this guy is so good. Okay, so this has nothing to do with spirituality, but this gives you an insight into how articulate this guy is and how precise he is with his words. Okay, I'm just going to play a couple minutes of this. Or a minute of it.
And with a simple observation that may sound unkind, but it's actually merciful. Yeah, most actors are not struggling because we lack talent. We're struggling because we enter the labor market that we don't understand. Now, that may sound harsh, but take comfort in this. We're not unique. Every profession has people who misunderstand the rules of the game they're playing. The difference is that we tend to misunderstand the rules emotionally. And in most professions, when someone doesn't make money, they assume something practical is wrong. In acting, when someone doesn't make money, they assume something existential is wrong. Either the industry is broken, or the gatekeepers are corrupt, or most dangerously, that they themselves are unworthy. And that's a heavy burden to place on what is.
This guy crushes, man. This guy crushes. He says more in like 3 sentences than I say in 40 fucking minutes. This guy is a beast. This guy's gonna explode when he might Rashad Edwards, that's his name. He may be too smart for the world. You know what I mean? Like it may be too much for the world to handle. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe he's 20 years ahead of his time, and that podcast will never get off the ground. But holy shit! I listen. When he talks, it's just a download of connections I'm making. He's so logical. He's like 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4, 4 + 7 is 11, and he's just taking you down the road. Dude, the show is amazeballs. I've played the game for years, and they've hit it out of the park with the show. I played the game for years, and they have hit it out the park with the show. Oh, Fallout. Oh yeah. The one thing I struggle with TV, like I said, I don't watch TV. The one thing I'm struggling with is I just see all the DEI shit. And that part's is I have to like just let it go to enjoy the show. But it's amazing. He talks about the show and the sets and stuff, and it is wild. I can't believe I watched 3 shows in a row. Oh, wow. Wow, crazy. Uh, all right. What is today? Thursday? Oh, CrossFit Games update show. Tomorrow. Should we stick in another show? I got another DM by someone saying, what was the DM I got today? Listen to this DM I got today. This one says, I know you don't care what we think. I do care what you think. I don't know if it influences me, but I do care what other people think. I don't care about it like if you think I should get a haircut. I mean, I care if you think I should get a haircut. I just don't. It's probably not going to influence me, but I do care what people think. But this person says, I love the idea of 2 CrossFit Games update shows per week. It would be nice to have one of them with more JR. How the fuck am I going to do more JR? I don't know how to do, how am I going to get more JR? I don't know how to do that. I mean, I invite him on every show, every Friday. You think I should change? You think I'm trying to get the show to move forward always? If you think I'm talking too much, it's really, but most of the time I don't want to be talking. I'm just trying to move the show forward. I guess I could let that go and we could have uncomfortable silences and just see if JR starts talking. And then it says, be nice to have one of them with more JR and others that focus on more than the headlines. So what do you mean? I'd like to focus on stuff more than the headlines too. But all week, all I'm doing is just scouring. I'm watching content while I ride the assault bike. I'm looking through athletes' Instagram accounts while I'm sitting at kids' jiu-jitsu for 3 hours a day. I want more of your show, but completely different. Yeah, that's what I heard. Sevi would love another oppressed conservative show with Taylor soon. Yeah, I know. We need that. I love hanging out with Taylor. Fucking love hanging out with him. I love how much energy he has. He has so much energy. All right, I got to go. I got to go talk to my wife. Let me see. She's. I don't even know. It's been two. Oh God, I forgot my wife's phone number for a second. I had to reboot everything this morning. I was in a little bit of a panic. I couldn't get my Roadcaster and all my shit working. I guess the power went out here.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Oh. All right. I guess she's not answering. I'll have to go in the house and talk to her myself. I'm avoiding the drama. There's so much drama out there. I'm trying to stay focused. Here, what's something nice I can? I'm glad there's so much content out there and so much stimulation. I'm happy for everyone who's getting fulfillment through their creations and their contributions to the chatter in the CrossFit space. How's that? That was good. That was sincere. Hello?
Hey,
Hi. Yeah.
did you call?
Yeah. Did you leave yet?
No.
Oh.
We'll
Yeah.
leave at like 9:30.
Yeah. Okay. I'll call and confirm my appointment today at 12:30, and if it's still on, are we
I
still
should go.
meeting today? Yeah, and if my
I think I'm just gonna take Joey, by the way.
okay. Oh, why? What's wrong with Ari?
But it's
His head doesn't feel good?
he just I just think he wants to rest. And I don't know. If he didn't have a tournament, I would say
Because he didn't
no
do jujitsu
come, but
yesterday.
what do
He
you
just
think?
sat there. He just sat there yesterday. He didn't do it. I'll come
Yeah,
inside.
then I say don't push it.
Let me get
Okay.
eyeballs on him.
Okay.
All right. I love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Okay. All right. Ernie, good show, sir. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Catch Colton on the CrossFit show later. Oh, is he gonna be on the CrossFit show at 10? That's awesome. Okay. Let the kid rest for fuck's sake. He rested yesterday. Got a huge tournament on Sunday. You think I overtrain him, David? Been told that twice in the last month. All right. Talk to you guys later. Oh, bye-bye.